Hi there, it's Catherine, your lawyer friend and guide, and this is the #1 podcast for legal careers in Japan. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Lawyer on Air. Did you know that 1 in 8 Japanese lawyers in Japan are in-house legal counsel? That is up from around 500 a few years ago. It's a quiet revolution in plain sight, and working in-house in Japan is a fantastic career path. Today's guest works in-house. Once every season of this podcast, I invite a special male guest from the legal community, someone whose story opens a window into a part of the profession we don't often hear about. And today's guest does exactly that. Yu Watanabe is General Counsel at Airbnb Japan. When he made the leap from private practice into an in-house legal counsel role, he was told it was a risk. Then when he moved from his first in-house role to Airbnb, someone told him it was a golden ticket. Same in-house role, different advice. A golden ticket job could just as easily have been labelled as golden shackles. And that's the heart of today's conversation, the idea that we should never really take advice for our careers at face value. Not the glowing advice, nor the fear-based advice. Yu Watanabe's story reminds us that people often project their own anxieties on us when they tell us not to take a risk. I believe the only counsel worth truly weighing into a decision that you are making about your career is the counsel from those who are in the arena or those who have already fought or are fighting the battles you aspire to take on. You'll also hear what Yu Watanabe says is really what it takes to shift from private practice into an in-house seat. The mindset changes, the unlearning, and the surprising truth that being in-house in Japan is no longer the second-class path it was once unfairly labelled. This is a conversation about courage, relevance, risk, mentorship, and choosing the voices that you let inside your head, especially at career crossroads. Settle in and let's get into it. Hello, you, and welcome to Lawyer on Air.
Hi, Catherine and listeners. It's my great pleasure to be here. I'm so excited. I'm Yu from Airbnb Japan.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here too. And I always start with the same warm-up question because it's so good.
Oh.
Imagine we are meeting up in person. We have done that, but let's do it again. And if we do, where are we and what are you ordering to drink from the menu?
Oh, this is a very good question. So, when I think of a place to meet, I would probably choose a modern and a spacious cafe in a nice hotel, like a Hotel Okura or Price Hotel, wherever you like a Four Seasons in Marunouchi. And I will order tea and we'll enjoy conversation. How about you, Catherine?
Oh, let me think. The Hotel Okura. I haven't been there for a little while. That's the one with the view out to the garden, the beautiful garden, or am I getting confused? No, that's Otani, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Otani. Hotel Okura is next to the US Embassy,
That's
so it
right.
takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes walk from Roppongi Ichome Station.
Well, how about I choose Otani because I haven't been there for a very long time and I
Oh,
love that
good.
garden. So that
Yes.
would be my choice. And maybe a tea or a black coffee. I do love my black coffees.
Mm-hmm.
Many people know this
Yeah.
and give me coffee as a gift because they know I
Wow.
love it so much. So that's what I would do. Thank you for that.
Catherine, can I add a bit context about why I choose this
Oh,
place?
absolutely. Go ahead.
Thank you. When I was about 25 or 26, I saw a weekly business magazine. And one week, they feature the top sales professional from an insurance company who had a very incredible sales record. So he's always met his potential client in a beautiful hotel lobbies, like I recommended. So now, as you know, a cup of coffee there isn't cheap, like not 500 Japanese yen, rather it should be 2,000 or 3,000 yen. So at that time, I thought, wow, I couldn't understand why he would do that. It seemed extravagant. But now I realize he was paying for not only coffee, but also respecting people he is hosting. So that's why I choose the same places. So because if I'd like to meet you in a certain place, I'd like to show my respect and gratitude to you. So that's why the behind the context, I choose the hotel lobby.
Fantastic. Now I've got a question for you. Hopefully, when I took you to Wakanui with the view of Tokyo Tower, that was respectful. And
Yeah.
how about people who come to my new office and I serve coffee there in the reception area, in the
Mm.
seating area there? Is that also going to be respectful?
Yes, that's right. I think, Catherine, the hospitality depends on the situation. And every time I go anywhere in the office, I feel like people's how they feel and how to make them happy is more important rather than just a praise. So this is a kind of hospitality from me, but it depends on people and the situation, and I really love the situation.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. And I know later on, I really want to ask you about this a bit more. So let's
Okay.
go back to that later on. But let us start with you studying law. What first led you to study law and why did you pursue it as a career? I don't know this question. Well, I do know the question. I don't know this answer.
Right. Thanks for the great question. So let me share my background. Actually, I was growing up Totori, I think the smallest population in Japan, and I think there was a two different climate. So outside of my home, a very traditional community in the rainy Totori city, but inside, my parents are academic, working in a university, so they welcome any questions. So the contrast taught me early that the difference isn't a defect. I think it's a resource. So law to me was a language that turns difference into fair choices. So that's the reason I chose the law.
That's so excellent. I often talk about your uniqueness is not your weakness. It sounds a little similar to what you're saying, is that something that's different about you is not a defect. It's totally your resource. Wow, that's a wonderful statement. But you could have stopped studying law, but you continued. So what allowed you to decide to keep going?
So in one line, I think thanks to my grandfather, he unfortunately passed away a decade ago. But when I was a elementary school boy, he took me to one of the law firm, very small law firm in Osaka city. But I still remember the moment when I opened the old wooden door in the building. I saw a lawyer standing next to an old woman. She wear a white dress, and she seems to be crying and say, "Thank you to the lawyer." So I think it's just 2 or 3 seconds. It's a very, very, very short moment, but I feel like a wow, lawyer is a superhero. So I can't forget this moment. So I think this is the powerful moment for me.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm sure that person had gone through something and the lawyer had been of help, which is what I think we are destined to do if we are lawyers. Our essential capability is to help people.
Mm.
So looking back then, there must have been some important lessons that you took from this period of time that you've had working at Freshfields, also at DENA. Is that right?
We pronounce them DNA. Some people say dinner, and
Yeah,
I
Danner,
have to correct
DEN.
it. Dinner,
Why
that's
is it? What's the
DNA.
E doing there?
I think because they start from e-commerce, so I understand that
Ah,
they press E because they are e-commerce company.
there we go. So DNA and Freshfields before you joined Airbnb, where you are now. So tell me about the lessons you learned along the way with those organizations that you worked with.
Oh, that's also a very good question. Thank you, Catherine. So Freshfields taught me craft and standards, and I'd say DNA taught speed and product fit. So together, precision at pace.
So craft and standards at Freshfields and speed and product fit at DNA. Tell me
Yeah,
more
product
about
fit.
that. Yeah.
At Freshfields, I learned a craft, how to earn every footnote and hold the line on quality. But when I transit to DNA, I learn the motion. So how product live, ship, and change. So one demanded precision, the other demanded pace. So my takeaway was to combine both precision and pace. So that brand becomes essential when I later joined Airbnb. So I learned a lot from DNA.
You did join Airbnb in 2015.
Yeah.
And since we're now 2025, I think you've passed your 10-year anniversary with them.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And you were their third lawyer in Asia.
Yeah.
How was it then stepping into a tech company at such an early age in Japan? I mean, they do a lot more than that too, but tell us more about that because that's quite an evolution for you to have joined what basically would have been post startup, I believe.
Yeah, the short answer is small team, big canvas. So when I had a time machine going back to 2015, so I was very afraid and concerned about this decision. So I consulted with many lawyers friends, mentors, and almost everyone I know. And there was only two lawyers who advised me, wow, Yusan, this is a great opportunity for you. And unfortunately, other people, they very kindly advised me, I think this is too risky to join such unknown startup in Japan.
Well, you've hit a good point because we get a lot of information and advice from others. So, what led you then to say yes to them? Because you were feeling the fear yourself. You had people around you telling you, it's a new business. Are you sure? And then you had somebody who you believed in who
Mm.
said, why not go for it? How did you make that decision?
Yeah, one of the mentors who advised me to go ahead is Masujima Sensei at the Morihamadan because he previously worked at a very famous law firm in Silicon Valley. So he very knew the risk of joining such a mega startup growing in the US. So I think his advice was very critical for me. And at the same time, there was another person who is Yano Sensei. At that time, he worked at the Google public policy team, and he was the first lawyer joining the Google public policy team in Japan. He also advised me, wow, Yusen, this is a golden ticket you should take. I think these two mentors, because they know the exact risk and opportunities, so their advice was critical to me.
Oh, that is just brilliant. You know that?
Mm,
The point that I wanted to make with you saying that is that there are some people who have never been where you have been, right? They've never been where you want to be.
right.
And so you would really only best listen to people who've done the thing that you want to do. And I feel that's a really big piece of advice that I can give to people who are also listening is just listen to the people who have done the thing that
Mm,
you
mm,
want to do because they're speaking from experience and they're also speaking like golden ticket. What kind of a word that is or expression to you because there's no way you would not do it when someone says it's a golden ticket.
mm, mm, mm.
So listen to people who've done what you've done and or near to what you've done and also who express things in a very excited and energetic way like that.
Yeah, and Catherine, if I can add one thing, so the piece of advice is actually checking with your eyes and also ears. Because sometimes we ask the question to chat GPT or just browse the information. But I think the real information resource is, as you explain, the people who really experienced it on their hands. So I think the advice from these people are very, very essential. And I feel like we cannot get this advice from AI.
I believe so. I mean, your own eyes and your own ears can't be replaced by anything.
Right.
And so that's a really great advice. Is there anything else you want to say about this before we move into the next section?
Yeah, when I joined Airbnb, I was actually afraid, to be honest. But at the same time, I was very excited to work with amazing people. So working at Airbnb is not just only for my career, but it changed my life. So we can talk this more later. But I think I would say Airbnb is the one of the best place I ever joined. So I really truly appreciate it.
Wow. I mean, I was following you for quite a while and I noticed the change in you when you joined that company. So let's go back to that a bit later.
Hmm.
Keep people waiting and anticipating what you're going to say. But along the way, you have won multiple awards, ALB Japan Law Awards. I think you've won eight, in fact. And you've become one of the youngest recipients of the In House Lawyer of the Year award.
Thank you.
What do these milestones really mean to you?
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. So I would say gratitude and responsibility. So awards name me and the team, but at the same time, they remind me to pay it forward.
What does that mean, paying it forward?
So I think that this is not the finish line for me. So they are a mirror. So I see the names of teammates and mentors and the clients reflected in each one. So when I was named during the award ceremony, I think they highlight not only me, but also everyone, including external counsel like you, to help me to move forward. So sometimes in a US company, I think it is a kind of custom to say, I achieved this because I'm powerful. But I purely believe that some achievement, yes, personal contribution, but the majority of them thanks to the environment and the people around me. So I would say gratitude and responsibility.
Do you remember any parts of the award speeches that you gave since you've given eight and over the years? Is there something that stands out from you that maybe later people who are listening to you said, wow, when you said that, I really felt,
Oh, wow. Thank
yeah.
you. But Catherine, I realize I think this is a unique, but some like a foreign law firms and foreign lawyers, they often make a great speech, even at 1 minute or 2 minutes. They try to convey their message or how they feel. But as you know, some like a Japanese law firm, Japanese individuals, because we are shy, sometimes just say thank you for the award. But I feel like how they feel, what they learned. I think that was a very great 1 minute to share. So I personally recommend if you have any opportunity in the future, please do not hesitate to share your thoughts because we truly appreciate it. But what do you think?
Well, we've been given 1 minute, so you may as well use it for accepting the award and also to convey something that you wish to and leave it as a message for the
Oh, great.
audience.
Mm.
What I love is also that approach of saying thank you. And it's Akiko Yamakawa comes to
Oh,
mind with
yes.
her arigato, thanks, is that's what she does as her speech. And she's won a few times
Yeah.
and been a guest on this podcast. For me, I spoke about the fact that people had doubted my progression doing the kind of work that I'm doing as a boutique law firm doing
Mm.
fractional law. But I think the awards proved that there was consistency and also support from my peers in the community who voted for me,
Mm.
and that I wanted my award to inspire anybody who was thinking that they couldn't do something to do it. And you never know what's going to happen. So that's kind of what I said. And you can use that 1 minute, and in 1 minute, you can say a lot. So I definitely recommend using that time you've been given to give some message to the audience.
Yeah, Catherine, I actually remember your amazing speech. And actually, the ALV Japan Law Award was the phrase we met it the first time. So, yeah, I think it is a great moment for all of us and learn something from the awarded person or team.
Thank you. That's great. Well, it was a fantastic place where we met, and there are lots of people who are in private practice and in house. But I do want to talk with you too about that moving from private practice to in house. How did you navigate that transition? Because it was really a time when I think in house careers was still quite rare in Japan. They were building up. So, how did you do that?
Yeah, I think this is a great question and remind me 13 or 15 years ago, when I talk to my career change to some private lawyers, they are very surprised. Wow, in-house counsel. And some very, I'd say, senior people didn't hesitate to say, wow, are you serious to jump off the partner track? Or very a few of them say, in-house lawyer could be a second-class citizen.
Is that right?
Yes,
Wow.
but I feel like Actually, transition from private practice and in-house requires more capability. I think a different capability, I would say. For example, I think that working in an organization, you have to work cross-functionally and collaboratively with other team members. So I think this is a different mindset and a skill set we require. So actually, there was some like a hard time for me to accommodate myself to in-house working environment.
I think that's one of the things through your career is when you make a decision and sticking with it, and others may feel differently about the decision you make. But later, when you look back, it's like, it didn't really matter. I'm so glad I made that decision because look what's happened as a result.
Mm.
So, what would you say then when people are naysayers? We call them that, right? When they're saying, goodness me, even second class citizen to be an in house legal counsel. Shocking to hear that. How did you cope with that? Did you say, well, thanks so much for your information? Or really, why do you think that? Or did you just carry on with your gut and know that you were going on the right path?
Yeah, I remember that the moment I didn't react emotionally, but try to understand how he described in-house counsel like that. And I step by step understand, I think the information about in-house counsel at that time was limited. So actually these private lawyers are not saying like that with a bad intention because they had a little information about in-house counsel, and actually they are proud of private practice, especially the litigation. But at the same time, after I became in-house counsel, I published the book, try to accept the lecture opportunities, because I think I thought this is important communication with the private practice lawyers, what our law is and what our law inside the company and how we can collaborate. It's not something like a first class or a second class. It's a different type of works, but I trust we are partner. We can work together.
Absolutely. And I guess you're right. They had a lack of facts, they didn't have experience in that area. And so listening to someone who hasn't done the thing you want to do is a little bit difficult. So, I have to ask you, have you talked with those people since? And what do they say about you now in taking this role?
Yeah, I think the perception has been changed a lot because this year I found that in Tokyo, we have three bar association. The number of in-house counsel in Tokyo actually 12.8%. Wow. It's one out of eight. So this is amazing number. So now it's more than 3,000 in-house counsels in Japan. But back to 2013 or 20, it is less than 500. So I think it's a dramatic growth. And the in-house counsel is not just a very rare job, but you can see in-house counsel because if you meet eight lawyers in Tokyo, one of them should be in-house counsel.
Exactly. Is that also including foreign in house legal counsel?
This number is only counting the Japanese lawyers registered in the Japanese Attorney Act. So the number does not include the foreign counsels. But if we include the foreign counsel, I think the number should be increased more.
Absolutely. Wow, amazing. Thank you for those statistics. That's really helpful. Are there some guiding philosophies then that you have to have shaped this kind of leadership style that you have and the way that you practice law?
I learned many leadership style, and there is no one size fit all leadership in a legal team or private practices because it differs from each organization and how founders think and also how the business team is working. But one thing I learned from in-house work is that different from private law firm one because if you work in a law firm, I think your colleagues are all lawyers. I think they might have a similar understanding of laws, sharing the same expectation of the product. But in a company, as you experience it, our client differ. So at DeNA, there was a one story I realized the differences because when I talk to engineers, Catherine, so they load amazing source code, which I don't understand. So I say, wow, you're amazing. And they say, you are amazing too, because you can deal with a contract. I think that each job has each differences. So we need to
Exactly.
accept that.
All right, that's really interesting. And I think also you're balancing that legal expertise with all these different people, but then you're working in an organization that's so fast paced.
Mm.
How do you manage to balance or cope with both of those different kind of paradox, isn't it?
Yeah, you are right. So to be honest, in the very first stage of in-house counsel, I had been struggling because try to copy and paste what I learned at the Freshfields, which means that the perfect product. So you need time. But in reality, the client expectation differs. And also, I'm very surprised in a law firm, if you would like to send an email, you need to check from your partner. But a company in a legal department, the request should be, please send the email, and I don't want to need to check your email. You should be responsible for it. So I was a bit struggling the quality of my work product, but I find that there is a difference of level of expectation of the product, and that's why we should accommodate with the client expectation. Any feedback on this?
Yeah, I think ownership and accountability, I thought
All
of when you
right.
were speaking. It's more on you as in-house legal counsel. Even if there's like you have
Mm,
three and maybe more now, you were the third hired. So the accountability and ownership comes back on you. Whereas in private practice, you've got to refer everything through the partner
yes.
that's your supervisor. So it's
Mm.
quite different. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to say on this section? Because I want to ask you about your books.
Yeah, okay. So speaking about work, I think the humbleness is very important. And also, I love the founder of DeNA, Nambasan's word, unlearning. Because sometimes lawyers eager to learn the new things, but at the same time, unlearning is very critical for in-house counsel. Because what made me struggling was I stick to what I learned in a law firm. But the lesson was I had to unlearn something which is not fit in the company. So my advice could be don't be afraid to forget something and accommodate yourself in the new organization.
That's right. It's one of the lovely questions I ask many people these days on the
Ah,
podcast,
okay. Mm-hmm.
what they have unlearned. And it's such a good question. I'm not saying that because I'm asking it. I'm saying it's just interesting because we are, as you said, always looking at learning something new. But sometimes our older habits or ways or processes or thoughts or thinking have to be reversed to
Right.
do better? So I really like that question. I didn't realize the DeNA founder had used that. So I'll go and have a look at that later on. But I do want to ask you about your books because I've no idea how you managed to find time to write books as well. But what inspired you to start writing? And tell me what the books are again, their names, and when they were published.
Okay, the short answer is I want to act like a startup. So back in 2015, I was working with several small startups founded by my former DNA colleagues. So sometimes I joined as a small shareholder or sometimes as a legal counsel offering a free advice. And what I realized then was the people with dreams don't just build product, they change society through their own product. So it inspired me a lot because, for example, a book, especially a lawyer's book, can also be a product that changes the way people think or act. So before, I try to write down what I would like to write in a paper or article, but after that, I try to reframe my book as a product to change the world.
I love it. So you've written two
Yeah.
books?
Yes, I published the first one is the 法律英単語, which is a kind of a textbook. You can quickly learn the English and Japanese legal terms. The other
Mm.
one is the legal risk management textbook, リーガルリスクマネジメントの教科書. So I think that the goal is same because I had been seeking this book, but it never existed in Japan. So like a
Mm.
startup founders, I say myself, yes, I can do that if there is no product in the world. So I think that's my day one to creating these books.
And what surprised you about that process of writing? Maybe in comparison to legal practice, but just on itself.
It's I think a different type of work, but I think fundamentally it has I think similar aspect because look, if you write in a legal memo, you assume a leader, and at the same time, when we write a book, we assume the leader. So these are the very similar concept. You have to understand your clients or potential leaders, what they want to have at the end of the day. So I would say there is a similarity between legal works and the writing a book, but at the same time, we have to be mindful, okay, how we can change what the world with this product.
Yes, understand who your audience is, right? Who your clients are
Oh, yeah,
and what they
exactly.
want at the end of the day. Why would they pick up your book to read it? I love it.
Yes.
Perfect advice for me as I write my own book, which you'll hear about in a little while. So we won't go
Wow.
into it quite now,
Can't
but
wait.
yeah, I can ask you for some advice. But would you encourage other lawyers? I certainly would to write a book and to contribute, as you say, their own product into the universe. Why would you recommend that people do that who are lawyers?
Yes, and I can remember one story. So when I asked my mentor Matsui sensei at the Mori Hamadan, I asked what I should focus on my late 30s before turning 40. So he carefully told me, give a talk or write something once a month without fail. So at the time, I wasn't entirely sure why, but I followed his advice very diligently. So I put my heart into preparing each session, and little by little, more invitations began to come in. So the lesson from here is if you don't speak up or share your information, no one can be aware of your thoughts or your wonderful ideas. If you have any good idea or thoughts, just share like startup founders are doing. So I think it could change the world step by step.
Absolutely. I mean, even those goggles that you can look at different things, right? There's nothing to
Mm,
look inside people's brains yet to find out what they are thinking. And so speaking up because no one can understand is absolute gold.
So, Catherine, I'd like to check my one salary, but this is just my personal view.
You've got a theory?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think for lawyers, sometimes we want to write an article or book just because we need a credit, because it's easy to say to your client, I write this book. But at the same time, I got a very great advice from Nakamura Naoto sensei. You know, he's a legendary lawyer in Japan. I think this is a very great advice is you should share the know-how or very ongoing real ideas you have instead of just providing a general information. So I think this is very critical. If you think of your leaders, leaders need these fresh information you only have. It's not something like they would like to get some general advice. So I think my preference and advice is we need to think about why I have to write down this book. Other people sufficient? I think this
Mm,
is a great question I'm always asking myself.
sure. I think we have to be writing fresh, as you use that word, information that people maybe have not thought about, something that someone said to you or your experience that you can think, huh, an
Yeah.
aha moment that
Aha moment.
you
Yeah.
turn into something that can be helpful to people. And sure, there's always something about it getting a credit. That's right. And oftentimes lawyers need to publish so that they can have those credits and be shown to be
Mm.
producing. However, you can also be creative and go and do something, write something very fresh and use your know-how on, as you said, ongoing ideas. I love that from Nakamura Sensei. That's wonderful.
And Catherine, I love your LinkedIn post. It always give me ideas and also imagination. Wow, I didn't realize that.
And what's funny that you say that because there are posts about Lawyer on Air and of my legal practice and governance, but the ones that are the most popular are which ones do you think?
Uh-huh. Mm.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee posts
Okay.
that I post with a random idea that I usually get while I'm on a train or having my coffee and I have a time to stop and think and
Ah.
something will just come up. It'll bubble
Mm.
up in my brain or in my heart or mind and I'll write about that in the moment. So that's my kind of advice. If we're talking about advice, it would be don't always write about the things you've prepared or you think you have
Mm,
to put out there. Sometimes the most interesting and engaging writing can be something that pops up out of nowhere.
yeah, totally agree.
Well, you've written these number of books, and I'm just wondering your central message. Do you have a central message that you want to leave for the next generation of lawyers?
Oh, great question. Thank you. So, just for information, I respectfully share that I will publish a new book in November 4th,
Wow.
which is 組織内弁護士の教科書, the
Wow.
textbook for in-house counsel.
Mm.
But it's a line I often remember in this book is someone is always watching your effort.
Yeah. How would you say that in Japanese?
きっと誰かが見ている. I
Whoa.
trust.
I love it. Yeah. Someone is always watching your effort. Is that right?
I'd say yes. And actually, when I
Mm.
starting my in-house career, I regret that my choice. Oh wow, I should remain the private practice. I should not be the in-house counsel. So I was very disappointed, and I wish to throw away everything. So I was totally disappointing. But there was a lawyer. He is a Kojiro san. He's now in Brussels. He's the Nishimura Asahi lawyer. And he told me someone is always watching your effort. And maybe I can share this episode later. But actually, this was correct. The one of the business team executives recommended me for the CEO hours at DeNA. This is not
Mm.
come from legal team, but at
Mm.
that moment was a very turning moment for me. So I truly say someone is watching your effort.
Also, I think being active like you are, and perhaps me too, is that people
Mm-mm.
are listening very carefully to what you say. So your words have a lot of impact as well as your actions. And I was at one of the bar events recently, and
Mm-hmm.
someone came up to me and said, "You know, you don't know, but I think of you as a mentor." And I thought, "Oh," so my shoulders went up, my back went straighter, and I thought, "Oh,
Oh yeah.
I've got to always remember consciously that somebody is watching, right? Watching my effort, and that they may take that as a kind of mentorship."
Yeah, I agree, Catherine. And always sometimes for emerging lawyers, this is difficult to believe because it looks like the world is not watching you. So I'm alone, feeling alone. Oh, wow, no one is caring me. They don't care my result or working. But don't worry, someone is always watching you, watching your effort, I'd
For
say.
sure. And
Yeah.
again, for younger lawyers, you know, maybe they're thinking about getting involved in the community, and you've done a lot of that yourself. How would you perhaps suggest to them the best way to get started and what should they do?
Yeah, as mentioned, I think the mentor is a very key, and also community is also important to join. If you have a mentor and if you have a good community, actually, the likelihood someone is always watching your effort would increase. But what do you think, Catherine?
I do agree with you. Yeah. And I think you seek mentoring. Mentoring is a form of giving to the community.
Mm,
Usually it's unpaid, and
right.
so you are giving back by giving forward to other people through mentoring. That's one way. Also, organizations, and we can do that now, is actually talk about Jila because you are involved in that organization, and that's also a way of you giving back.
Yeah, Japanese In-House Lawyers Association was actually the single source when I was struggling. Because back to DeNA, I really respect and very thankful to everyone in the company, but there was no in-house counsel other than me. So I needed advice from someone as an in-house counsel. So when I joined JIRA, Japan In-House Lawyers Association, many seniors did not hesitate to help me. They gave me tons of advice, powerful messages, and always cheering me. So as Catherine mentioned, I think that Jaira now getting much bigger, but still a great place to see that someone amazing in-house seniors and also cross industry, and they are amazing.
What kind of mindset do you have going into those organizations? Is it, I'm struggling, I'm feeling lonely, I want to get people to help me, or is it the other way round that you want to be able to contribute to those organizations and through that perhaps it helps you with your struggling and loneliness?
Yeah, I think there are two pillars. Number one is I think educational opportunity. So if you have a join the seminar or like a fireside chat, you will immediately understand, oh, I'm not alone. This is the common shared experiences every in-house lawyers have, which makes you feel like, oh, I'm not alone. The second thing is I think the community, as you mentioned, because now I'm leading the next generation committee because now I think 70% or 65% of the Japan In-house Lawyers Association members, PQE is less than 13 years or less than 10 years. So they are all emerging lawyers. So I'm treating them with a compassion because everyone is not alone and we share the same challenges. So personally, I wanted to be here and in this community to help these emerging lawyers.
Whoa, 65% are within 10 to 13 years PQE.
Yes, you are right.
Interesting. Imagine that. I mean, I can't remember anybody having that statistic when I was younger as a young lawyer. It was everybody, well, 65% would have been people who were in their 20s to 30 years of practice.
Mm.
Things have changed. So let's go back a little bit because I know you mentioned you're in a group there at Gila for the young gen or the next gen. What about though with study groups you also have outside of directly into law? I think you're on study groups with METI and the digital
Hmm.
agency. Tell us a bit more about that because those are also roles where you are giving to a community of sorts and shaping what's coming.
Yeah, thank you. And speaking about, I think, public duties and public services, I'm very happy to support the Japanese government or new, I think, discussion to move forward. One thing I could contribute was actually the digital agency. So as you might remember, back to 4 years, we are suffering the COVID, and also we have emergencies, and also we can't go out the home. So at the time we discussed the e-signatures, and also at the same time we discussed how we can move digital transformation forward. So Airbnb's experience helped me a lot because I could luckily learn how to change the law and help the government to update the law. So as a government committee member, so it was a great opportunity for me based on this experience to help others and society to have better rules.
Excellent. And if you're not doing this kind of work, how are you resetting and recharging yourself? Because you're like an everlasting battery that just keeps going and going, like a firecracker. You don't seem to slow down, but I believe there must be ways that you reset and recharge yourselves.
Oh, this is a great question. What type of answers you are expecting for these
Ah,
questions? How other participants respond these questions?
that's interesting. You're answering the question with a question, but
Oh, sorry.
many, no, no, not at all. Many people talk about spending time with family and recharging, listening to their kids and getting
Ah, I
energy
see.
from the way children see the world. Others go and do physical activities. It might be running, it might be yoga. Some will get into nature and do trekking.
Mm.
Yeah, and some get into creative things. I do a lot of, make jewelry and I do all kinds of different things that sort of are creative so that I focus on something and I'm not running around. I'm thinking about something in the moment. So
Mm-mm. Okay, now I
back to
see.
you.
Okay, so do you know Yutaka Take? He is the one of the Japan's legendary jockey, active for decades.
I don't know him, but you can tell me about him.
Yeah, I think that my recovery is actually throwing what he is. So when I was a junior high school boy, I heard a story about Take-san that left a deep impression on me. So after finishing all his races on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, while many other jockeys went out for drinkings, like go to Ginza in the city, Take-san would quietly go straight home, and he would swim in the pool and stretch his body and immediately review every race he had ridden that day. So he wrote down what went well and what he could improve for the next race. So when I first had this, I was deeply moved And this is a great exercise and how and what professionalism looks like. So actually, I'm following what Take-san is doing, not go for drinking, not going for party, but going home and try to keep these quiet time to recover myself for next amazing work.
Ooh, very interesting. But I also know that you have an interest in kabuki.
Oh wow, how do you know that?
Ah, I have my ways. But how
Yeah.
do these passions, say kabuki, and I think you also love travel, how are
Yes.
they also impacting your professional life?
Okay, speaking about travel, actually, I love traveling. So, because of thanks to Airbnb 10-year anniversary, I'm planning to take a sabbatical leave end of this year, and I'm trying to go around the world as my second time. So that's amazing. But
Wow.
let me talk about the kabuki, because I think kabuki not only make me relax, but every time I realize how I think lawyers can follow it because we sometimes try to be a number one or try to be a very creative person. But as you can see, kabuki, there is a traditional format you have to follow, but you need your own creativity, how you amend or how you update these existing traditional format. So with that, you can be a whole entire new lawyer, but it's same for us. We are lawyer following the traditions, but we can tweak something to be better or to be a new person. So I think that's my learning from Kabuki and it makes me very refreshed.
Interesting. I always thought kabuki actors had to follow only the traditional format. I hadn't realized that they had a little bit of license to do some creativity as well. Interesting.
Yeah, this is interesting because at that time I told like you and the Kabuki, what they do is like a same DVD. So every actions, every movement is same. But actually, they are carefully watching the audiences, how they react. So I think I sometimes try to count, they sometimes like pause their actions. I try to count how many seconds they pause like this. I think it
Mm.
actually depends on the situation. For example, the crowd is continuous, then they continue a little bit longer. Or there is actually even a very famous one the family has a different style of how they perform, so it makes me very fascinating.
How long they pause. I hadn't thought about that. That's interesting. Well, I want to go into a kind of sad topic
Okay,
because
come on.
earlier this year, you and I collaborated together to write a tribute to Tim Mackey.
Mm,
He was the General Counsel at SoftBank Group who passed away quite suddenly.
yeah,
And you had a really amazing idea to put together a set of, I guess, ways to do the law inside a company, the ways that Tim lived his life as a general counsel. And you captured all of those into a document, and we worked on putting that together. And we missed him a lot. He was so big in the
yeah.
community and had a lot of
Mm.
impact out. His ripples still affect all of us. Can I ask you to share something about him and what he meant to you and what you learned from him? Maybe it's something from what you collated together from his thoughts.
Yeah, I truly miss Tim-san. I'm very sad. The first time I met him was actually the Japan ALV Law Award. My first attendance, 2018. Tim-san sit next to me and he gave me his business card. It says SoftBank. Wow. It's a big company. So I was a bit nervous. Wow. The guy next sitting to me was a very VIP at SoftBank, but he was very kind and very clear. And also he shared many story even during 2 hours dinner, how he can deal with his team, what was his challenges and ideas that I can get myself better. So Tim San has been very kind and also for a great role model for all Japanese lawyers. So I truly respect him and miss him a lot.
I think what he mentioned that I really liked because he's a New Zealander and he used a New Zealand analogy, which was through the All Blacks and holding on to the rugby jersey that you wear while you're in the team. And he mentioned that that was, you're in charge of, you're a custodian for the jersey just while you have it. And you've got to keep it in really good condition because you need to pass it on to the next person who's going to be in the team. And I thought that was really impactful, not because of the New Zealand side of things, but that he used that to talk about it in terms of a law position. Because sometimes we think we are really important, but actually it's the role that's important. And so, mamoru, to look after it, protect it, is the important thing to do. It's not about you, it's about the role and making sure it's ready for the next person who's going to take it up after you've been there.
Catherine, I think you are right because especially working in the US companies, sometimes we as a human, it is natural, but try to show off yourself or try to proud of what you achieved. But reality, I continue to say, is it could be a Japanese people's view. I don't know. But my personal view is this is something that your environment and also your teammate make this happen, not only because of your own ability. So that's why gratitude and respect is always key. Because if you believe I achieved this by myself, I would say this would not be always light. So we need to watch out your tradition you are owning. And as Tim-san mentions, the legacies you need to bring to your next generation.
Absolutely. I think this is a
Mm.
really good place to ask you about one of my signature questions, which is about a pivotal moment for you in your career. Because every career has some defining moment. Probably it's a decision or an event or some challenge that changes or shifts everything. What was that moment for you and what did you learn?
I think the moment came when I received the President CEO award at DeNA. So it was my first time, and also it was the company's first time that the award go to the legal team because every single year it had always been given to the sales team. So each department could make a nomination, and that year it was my client, the business division, that nominated me for this award because they are watching your and my effort carefully. So it actually saved me because before that I faced a challenges in like a human relationship and also recognitions, but I try to provide the best services to my client. I continue it, continue it, continue it, and finally clients make it visible. So it was a great moment for me. If you continue to do your best work, yes, someone is watching your effort.
What do you think it is that they saw, that they noticed, that they were watching, that they voted for you instead of the usual salespeople to win this award? And I know it's not about the award itself, it's the recognition that award gave you. What is it you think that they saw, or did they actually tell you what they chose you on?
Yeah, I'd say they are watching my 100% focus on my work and how I can help the business team. Because before changing my mind was spread around. So I mean, I care myself. I worried about my next job. I think I was not very much focusing on my work. But during this hard time, I try to make myself to only focus on my work and concentrate on how I can help my business client effectively. So I trust. They never told me, but I trust they are watching these efforts carefully.
Well, that leads really into my next signature question for you, which is your lawyer superpower. What do you think is your unique strength? Because every lawyer has something, and some people have asked this question too. They don't think they've got a superpower, but they do. So tell me what yours is.
Okay, I hesitate to say this is a superpower, but hospitality is, I think, the key ability, and I try to get myself better. Because it's same for if you write a book, if you provide a crisp legal advices, or even if you join this podcast, I think imagination, how your action make other people happy is very critical for service level. Because if you go to Michelin style restaurant, or if you if you rely on amazing flight carriers, their service is amazing because they are hospitable and try to think about how they can help their client. So again, I think the hospitality.
I so believe that. And I've experienced your hospitality on numerous occasions. And one that pops up for me is when we had lunch. We
Oh,
took some
thank you.
photographs outside in front of Tokyo Tower on the balcony outside the Watanabe restaurant. And several days passed, and I thought, you hasn't sent me those photos yet. Why has he not sent me the photos? I mean,
Oh,
they were on his iPhone, and surely it's just a matter of sending them. I got into my office, and there's a letter sitting there with the photographs printed out. So you went to the next step to do that. And also during the dinner or lunch, it was, I told you about my most favorite ice cream, which was
mm.
the ice cream served at this restaurant, Hokey Pokey. And you included in the letter not only the card and the photos, but some vouchers to go and get some Haagen-Dazs
Oh, thank you,
ice
Kessa. You
cream.
remember that?
That, my friends who are listening here, is hospitality. That is how you do it. It's not only the sending of photos over the iPhone, it's what else can I do for this person to remember this time we had together and to give them that extra delight. And by goodness, you did that for me. I'll never forget that.
Thank you, Catherine, for highlighting that. Because imagine we have iPhones and nice smartphones. It's we rarely printed them out, right? So I'm always thinking, okay, how I can save their time and try to make our great memories the best one. So the one actually the positive feedback I got is the Hoshino-san, Hoshino Rizzo, the president, the
Yes, I
Mr.
do.
Hoshino.
Yeah.
I happened to meet him in a big conference, so similarly, we took a photo. But at that day, I had a 30 minutes break during the session, so I immediately go to the convenience store and I print it out and handed this photo to Hoshino-san, trying to make him surprised. And he say, "Wow, how you can make this happen?" So because Hoshino-san is known as a great hospitable person, so I was lucky. He say, "Wow, this is a good hospitality."
Amazing.
I'm a person when people smile and give me this type of feedback, I'm happy. So I'm just continuing to do this because it makes me happy.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you a question that I haven't told you I'm going to ask you because I received an email from a student who's studying in New Zealand. He's
Hmm.
Japanese. I met him on Friday evening at an event that was hosting and talking about bringing Japanese people to New Zealand to study.
Hmm.
And he wants to be a lawyer. And I said, well, just reach out to me. Here's my card. He said, you're the first person who's given me your card tonight. I thought, that's a shame. No one's given a card to a young student, and all of them should get cards from people, right? So I gave him my card. He reached out and he said, I want to study law. And this is what he's asked.
Mm,
If possible, could you please explain what it means to become a lawyer
mm, mm,
and what qualifications should I have to become a really good one?
mm.
So I want to ask you that. I've already written a reply to him to send, but I want to add in your response to that, what it means to become a lawyer and what he should do. I think he wants to go and study in the US actually, but what does it mean to become a lawyer?
Wow, I think this is a great question. But again, maybe we discussed a lot in this podcast. But for me, I think based on your question, I realized myself, lawyer is a one way sharing my appreciation and hospitality through my work, and also some like advices, regardless of it's relating to legal or not. So I'd say lawyer as a job for me is a way to showing my appreciation and also gratitude and also respect to other people. Wow, this is a great question, Catherine.
Isn't it? Well, I will add that in. I had said I think it goes beyond the law itself. And it's hard. I mean, it's helping people, but I think it's bridging, for me, it's two countries, two cultures,
Yeah.
two languages, two minds, two jurisdictions. I think a law is a bridge to help people and help companies understand each other, find fairness, create something better than what existed before they asked me for their help. So I'll add yours in to what I'm replying to him and encourage him
Mm,
to listen to you say this in your own words later on when
mm,
this
mm,
episode
mm.
comes out. Thank you for that. Is there anything else you would like to say today that you've mentioned before, or perhaps you didn't mention, that you'd love people to remember from today's conversation?
Mm. Wow, Catherine, I think this podcast, I truly appreciate you invite me because always we have a new ideas and also new collaboration. It's a kind of new chemistry and arts. The human talk to each other, then we find a human to human connection, then realize what is important thing for myself or society, what I'd like to achieve. So this is a great conversation, Catherine, and I would really appreciate. And at the same time, again, I think I have some blind spot, I'd say. So I think everything what I shared in during the conversation will not be light. But again, Catherine, you inspire me a lot. And also, again, it reminds me appreciating other people and getting feedback and also, if possible, contribute to the society, not only as a lawyer, but also human. I think this is a great way to make our life happy because our life is too short, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I'm going to finish up with the fun quick fire wrap up. I know you've listened to the podcast before, so you know what this kind of sounds like, but I'm going to ask you first about a book. Is there a book that you've reread more than once, or maybe a book, of course, in addition to your own books, that you would recommend people listen to or read?
I have tons of books, but except for some like maniac books from Kabuki one,
Mm,
I love the Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 because
021. Okay.
0 to 1 is by Peter Thiel.
Mm,
Because I think as I mentioned, acting as as a startup. So I think his book inspired everyone, including you and me, to become not only a best lawyer, but also a great contributor and founder of something that help the society. A lawyer's or legal team can be like just a vending machine, like providing advices like a machine. But at the same time, we can be a human to human great advisor to help other people. So I think the Peter Thiel's 0 to 1
mm.
maybe breaking the barrier as a lawyer and give us more potential opportunity how we can help other people.
Fantastic. Well, what is the most underrated skill you think for a lawyer? Perhaps in-house lawyer.
I would actually for what you mentioned, I think the bleaching, because the
Mm,
in-house counsels intentionally or unintentionally bleaching some other people cross-functionally work together because they are not just providing the legal advices, but they try to make the business happen. So sometimes it is undervalued of the bleaching other team members or bleaching ideas, I would say.
mm. If you were not a lawyer,
Mm.
what would you be?
That's a tough question because, as I told you, lawyer was the only dream I had since I was an elementary school boy. But oh, Kokuho, I think the Kabakakita, you need some like a blood to become the famous one. But maybe I can do anything because I think I will in any job. Maybe I try to make the people happy. So any job welcome. So I'm sorry, I have no particular answer.
Oh, but you are hosting a program as well, right? So I think radio host or that kind of role sounds to me like a really great thing for you.
Oh, I take your advice, Catherine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And what's something you've already mentioned kabuki that people might be surprised to learn about you, but is there something else outside of law that you haven't told people or they may not know that might surprise them about you?
Okay, so for these 3 years, I had a very periodical session with I think the licensed mental doctors. This is not because I'm a mentally ill, but I think that I think it's a training. So we go to gym and
Mm,
try to strengthen our muscles. At the same time, this weekly call with a licensed person make me realize how we can make our heart and mind stronger. So I'm always reflecting what went wrong and what went well. So I think that this training, not only for our bodies, but also mind, would also important, I think.
Interesting. You might want to consider joining TEL, the Tokyo English Lifeline, because
Right.
you may have some advice that could
Mm.
help people and it could be quite interesting. So I just put that there. But you, Watanabe, we have reached the end of our chat today. Thank you so much for joining me on Lawyer on Air as my special guest, offering some diversity as a male, as a Japanese person who's an in house legal counsel. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you today and connecting this way. I hope you enjoyed your time.
Thank you. Likewise, thank you, everyone. And also thank you, Catherine, for hosting me. For me, it's a great pleasure and I'm very enjoying it. Thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank you. And if people would like to connect with you because they've heard some things you've said that they'd like to continue speaking about, how do they get hold of you? Is LinkedIn the best place for that?
Yeah, please DM me in a LinkedIn or you can visit my website, inhouselaw.org. So you can send me the message via the website. So please feel me to contact me. Thank you.
Inhouselaw.org. You heard it here, your webpage. Wonderful. Well, to my listeners who are listening, if this episode has inspired you, given you something to think about, I would love to hear from you. Please do subscribe. Share this with somebody who might be thinking, how do I find out that information? That's all for today. See you back here next time for the next episode. Cheers, kampai, and bye for now.